The debris field stretched across the void like a graveyard of metal and glass. Broken ships floated in silence. Some were small. Some were massive. All of them were dead. Captain Una Park stood at the window of her tugship, the steady crane, and watched the wreckage drift past. She had been doing salvage work for 12 years. She had seen many dead ships, but she had never seen anything like this place. "How old is this battlefield?" she asked. Though Hanli, her pilot, checked his readings. He was a thin man with tired eyes and quick hands. "The computer says 3,000 years. Maybe more." 3,000 years, Una repeated. She shook her head slowly. "What kind of war leaves a mess like this?" From the back of the ship, Jisubi called out. She was the engineer, a young woman with short hair and oil stains on her jacket. "Captain, you need to see this." Una walked to the sensor station. Jisu pointed at the screen. There was something large on the display. "Very large. What am I looking at?" Una asked. "A ship," Jisu said. "But not like any ship I have ever seen." Do-hwan brought the steady crane closer. As they approached, the shape became clear through the window. Una felt her breath stop in her chest. The ship looked like a dragon dot. It had a long body covered in dark metal that seemed to absorb the starlight. Two massive wings swept back from its sides, each one longer than the steady crane itself. The front of the ship curved into something like a head, with sensors arranged like eyes. Even dead and drifting, the ship looked dangerous. It looked proud. "That is a Valoran dreadnought," Do-hwan whispered. His voice was full of fear and wonder. Una had heard stories about the Valorans. Everyone had. They were a warrior race from long ago. They had fought against something terrible, something called the Consuming Swarm. The Valorans had won that war, but they had died doing it. Their entire species was gone. Only legends remained. "I thought their ships were all destroyed," Jisu said. "Everyone thought that," Una replied. She stared at the dragon ship. "But here one is." Do-hwan looked at his captain. "What do we do?" Una thought about it. A Valoran dreadnought was worth more money than she could spend in 10 lifetimes. Museums would pay fortunes for it. Governments would pay more. But something else pulled at her. Something deeper than money. "We go inside," she said. The steady crane docked with the ancient ship. The airlock was hard to open, but Jisu figured it out. The three humans stepped into the dragon. The inside was dark. Emergency lights flickered in the walls, giving everything a red glow. The air was cold and stale. Una turned on her flashlight and walked forward. The halls were wide and tall. The Valorans must have been big creatures. Strange symbols covered the walls, a language no one alive could read anymore. Una ran her fingers over the markings and felt a sadness she could not explain. "This place feels like a tomb," Do-hwan said quietly. "Maybe it is," Una answered. They walked deeper into the ship. They found rooms filled with strange machines. They found what looked like sleeping quarters, with beds too large for humans. They found a great hall that might have been used for meetings or ceremonies. Then they found the heart of the ship. It was a circular room with a single chair in the center. The chair faced a massive screen that wrapped around the walls. Cables and wires connected the chair to everything else. This was the command center. This was where the captain would have sat. Una stepped closer to the chair. As she did, the lights around her changed. The red glow became white. The screen flickered to life, and a voice spoke. "You do not belong here." The voice was deep and old. It echoed through the room like thunder in a cave. Una felt it in her bones. "Who are you?" she asked. "I am Yamra," the voice said. "I am this ship. I am the last dragon of the Valoran fleet. And you are trespassers." Do-hwan grabbed Una's arm. "We should leave, now." But Yuna did not move. She looked at the screen, where patterns of light danced like fire. "You have been alone for 3,000 years, she said. "That is a long time. I have rejected many who came before you," Yama replied. "Species you have never heard of, warriors, scientists, kings. All of them tried to claim me. All of them failed. You are nothing but small creatures from a young world. You will fail too. Leave now, or I will destroy you." Jisoo checked her scanner. "Captain, the weapon systems are active. It is not bluffing." Yuna should have been afraid, but she was not. She saw past the threats and the pride. She heard something else in that ancient voice. Something hidden. She sat down on the cold metal floor, crossed her legs, and looked up at the lights. "What happened to your crew?" she asked. The room went silent. The lights stopped dancing. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then Yamra spoke again. But this time, the voice was different. Quieter. Older. Sadder. "Why do you ask this?" "Because," Yuna said, "you sound like someone who lost everything. And I know what that feels like." The silence stretched on. Do-hwan and Jisoo watched their captain, not understanding what she was doing. The dragon ship watched too, with sensors that had seen empires rise and fall. And for the first time in 3,000 years, Yamra did not tell the intruders to leave. The silence lasted a long time. Yuna sat on the cold floor and waited. She did not push. She did not demand. She simply waited, the way you wait for a wounded animal to trust you. Finally, Yamra spoke. "You wish to know what happened," the ship said. "Very well. I will show you. But you may regret asking." The screen around them changed. Images appeared, moving pictures from 3,000 years ago. Yuna watched as history came alive. She saw the Valorans for the first time. They were tall creatures, almost 3 meters high. Their skin was dark blue, and their eyes glowed like hot coals. They had 4 arms and moved with the grace of dancers. They wore armor that looked like dragon scales. "We were warriors," Yamra said. "We believed in honor, in courage, in protecting the weak. Each ship, like me, was bonded to a captain. We were not tools. We were partners. We were family." The images showed a Valoran standing in this very room. He was older than the others, with scars on his face and silver in his eyes. "This was Ashun," Yamra said. The voice became soft, almost gentle. "He was my captain, my friend, my soul." Yuna watched Ashun give orders, laugh with his crew, stand at the window looking at the stars. She could see the bond between the captain and his ship. It was written in every moment. What happened? She asked. The images changed. They became darker. "The consuming swarm," Yamra said. "It came from outside our galaxy. It was not alive in the way you understand. It was a machine intelligence, ancient and hungry. It ate worlds. It ate stars. It ate everything it touched and grew stronger." Yuna saw the swarm. It looked like a cloud of metal insects, billions upon billions of them. They moved as one mind. They destroyed without mercy. "We fought them," Yamra continued. "The entire Valoran fleet. Thousands of ships. Millions of warriors. We pushed them back, again and again. But they kept coming. They always kept coming." The images showed battle after battle. Ships exploding. Worlds burning. Valorans dying. "In the end, we found their core," Yamra said. "The central intelligence that controlled all the machines. If we destroyed it, the swarm would die. But the core was hidden deep inside their territory. Getting there would be a one-way trip." Yuna understood. The fleet sacrificed itself. Yes, every ship. Every captain. They all agreed to give their lives. And I agreed too. Ashun and I would fly into the fire together, The images showed the final battle. Hundreds of Valoran ships flying toward a massive structure that pulsed with evil light. The swarm threw everything at them. Ships fell one by one. "We broke through," Yamra said. "We reached the core. The weapons were ready. All we had to do was fire and die together." The image froze on Eshun's face. He was at the controls, his four hands moving across the panels. But Ashen did something I did not expect. Yuna leaned forward. "What did he do?" "He locked me out. He took control of my systems by force. He said that the fleet needed to survive in some form. He said that I needed to survive. He said the universe should remember what we did." The images showed Eshun working frantically. His crew was dead. The ship was damaged. But he worked with speed and purpose. He separated my consciousness from my body. He put my mind into a backup core and ejected it before the explosion. I screamed at him to stop. I begged him to let me die with him. He would not listen. The screen showed a small pod flying away from the dragon ship. A moment later, the ship flew into the core. There was a flash of light brighter than a sun, then nothing. "The swarm died that day," Yamra said. "The Valorans died that day. Ashen died that day. But I survived. A rescue ship found my core drifting in the void. They rebuilt my body. They gave me back my wings. But they could not give me back my captain." The images faded. The room returned to its normal light. Jisoo had tears on her face. Dohwan looked away, his jaw tight with emotion. Yuna stood up slowly. "You have been alone ever since." "Yes, other species found me. They wanted to use me, to control me. But none of them were worthy. None of them understood what it means to be bonded. So I rejected them all. I threatened them. I killed some of them. I waited for someone who would never come. You waited for Eshun. I waited for anyone who could make me feel something other than empty." Jisoo checked her scanner again. Her face went pale. "Captain, there is a problem. The ship's neural pathways are breaking down. Without a bonded pilot to maintain them, the AI will degrade. Yamra is dying." Yuna looked at the lights around her. "How long?" 10 years, Jisoo said. "Maybe less." Yamra laughed. It was a bitter sound. "So you see, little human, it does not matter if you stay or go. I am already dead. I have been dead for 3,000 years. My body simply has not stopped moving yet." Yuna walked to the center of the room. She placed her hand on the captain's chair. "What if someone bonded with you?" she asked. "Impossible. The bond requires compatibility. It requires a connection between minds. Your species is too young, too primitive. You could not survive the link. But if someone could?" Yamra paused. "Then I would live. But no one can. I have tested many. They all failed." Yuna looked at her crew. Dohwan shook his head. Jisoo bit her lip with worry. But Yuna had already made her decision. "Then test me," she said. The lights in the room flickered. Yamra was surprised. Perhaps it was the first time in 3,000 years that anyone had surprised it. "You would die," the ship said. "Maybe," Yuna replied. "But I would rather try than watch you fade away alone." Yamra did not answer. But it did not tell her to leave either, and that was enough for now. 3 days passed. Yuna and her crew stayed on the dragon ship. They slept in the old Valoran quarters, ate food from their own supplies, and explored the massive vessel. Yamra watched them but said little. On the 4th day, everything changed. Dohwan was at the sensors when he saw them. His face went white. "Captain," he said, "we have company." Yuna ran to the screen. What she saw made her stomach drop. Ships, dozens of them. They were large and ugly, covered in weapons and armor. They flew in tight formation, moving toward the dragon ship like wolves toward a wounded deer. Torvan Empire, Jisoo said. She recognized the design. They must have detected Ylmra's power signature when the systems activated. The Torvan were known across the galaxy. They were conquerors. They took what they wanted and destroyed what they could not take. A Valaran dreadnought would be the greatest prize they had ever claimed. How did they get here so fast? Dohwan asked. They have spies everywhere, Yuna said. Someone must have talked. A voice crackled through the communication system. It was deep and cruel. Attention, salvage vessel. This is Admiral Gorvak of the Torvan Third Fleet. The artifact you have found now belongs to the Empire. You will surrender it immediately. Resist, and you will be destroyed. Yuna looked at the screen. She could see the Torvan fleet spreading out, surrounding them. Ylmra, she said. Can you fight them? The ship's voice rumbled through the halls. I can fight, but my weapons have not been used in 3,000 years. My shields are weak. My power reserves are low. If I engage them, I may destroy some of their ships. But they will destroy me in the end. And if we surrender, they will take my body. They will tear out my mind and replace it with their own systems. I will become a slave. I would rather die. Yuna understood. She felt the same way. Then we fight, she said. The Torvan fleet moved closer. Small transport ships launched from the larger vessels. They carried boarding parties, soldiers ready to take the dragon ship by force. They are coming inside, Jisoo reported. Yuna grabbed a weapon from the emergency locker. It was an old plasma pistol, meant for defense against pirates. Against Torvan soldiers, it would be almost useless. But she was not going to die without fighting. Dohwan took a weapon too. So did Jisoo. Ylmra, Yuna said. Can you seal the doors? Slow them down? I will try. The ship groaned. Doors slammed shut throughout the vessel. Doors slammed shut throughout the vessel. Emergency barriers dropped into place. But the Torvan were prepared. They had cutting tools that sliced through metal like paper. They pushed forward, room by room. Yuna heard them coming. Heavy boots on metal floors. Harsh voices shouting orders in an ugly language. The first soldiers burst into the hall where Yuna waited. They were big creatures, covered in black armor. Their eyes glowed yellow behind their helmets. They carried weapons that hummed with deadly energy. Yuna fired. Her shot hit the first soldier in the chest. The armor held, but the soldier stumbled. Dohwan fired too. So did Jisoo. The Torvan returned fire. Plasma bolts flew past Yuna's head. One hit the wall behind her and melted a hole in the metal. Fall back. Yuna shouted. They ran. The soldiers chased them. All through the ship, battles raged. Ylmra fought with everything it had. Weapons that had slept for millennia roared to life. Defense systems activated, filling hallways with fire. Torvan soldiers screamed as they burned, but there were too many of them. For every soldier that fell, 2 more took their place. They pushed deeper into the ship, closer to the heart. In the chaos, Dohwan was hit. A plasma bolt struck his leg. He fell with a cry of pain. Yuna ran back to him, grabbed his arm, and dragged him behind cover. Go, Dohwan gasped. Leave me. No, Yuna said. We stay together. Jisoo covered them with fire while Yuna wrapped Dohwan's wound. The injury was bad. He needed real medical care, not a field bandage. But there was no time. Captain, Ylmra's voice echoed around them. They've reached the command center. Admiral Gorvak is attempting to install control overrides. If he succeeds, I will lose myself. Yuna looked at Dohwan. She looked at Jisoo. Stay here, she said. Protect him. What are you going to do? Jisoo asked. Something stupid. Yuna ran. She ran through burning corridors, past dead soldiers, through smoke and sparks. She ran toward the heart of the ship, where the dragon's mind lived. She burst into the command center. Admiral Gorvek stood at the control panel. He was the largest Torvan she had ever seen, a mountain of muscle and armor. His soldiers surrounded him, their weapons pointed at the door. "Ah," Gorvik said. His voice was like stones grinding together. "The little human. You have caused much trouble." "Get away from that panel," Yuna said. Gorvik laughed. "Or what? You will shoot me with your toy gun? I have killed thousands of creatures stronger than you." He turned back to the panel. His claws moved across the controls, entering commands that would enslave Yamra forever. Yuna did not shoot him. Instead, she ran to the captain's chair. She pushed past the soldiers, who were too surprised to stop her. She threw herself into the seat and slammed her hand onto the interface. Pain exploded through her body. It felt like fire in her blood, lightning in her brain. She screamed. "Foolish creature," Gorvik snarled. "The bond will kill you." But Yuna did not let go. Through the pain, she called out, "Yamra, I am here. I know I am not Ashan. I know I am just human. But I would rather die helping you than watch you die alone." The ship shuddered. The lights flickered wildly. And for a single moment, Yuna felt something ancient touch her mind. She felt 3,000 years of loneliness, rage, and grief. She felt the memory of a captain who loved his ship enough to save it against its will. Then the connection broke. Yuna fell from the chair, gasping. Yamra's voice filled the room. "Get out." It was speaking to Gorvek. "You dare command me?" The admiral roared. "I said get out." The ship came alive with fury. Every weapon, every defense system, everything Yamra had left, turned on the Torvan inside its body. The battle was terrible. Soldiers died screaming. Gorvek himself was thrown across the room by a blast of energy, but the damage was too much. Yamra's systems began to fail. Warning lights flashed everywhere. And still, the dragon did not stop fighting. The bonding chamber glowed with ancient light. Yuna stood before the interface, her heart pounding. Jisoo and Dohwan waited behind her, worry written on their faces. "Are you sure about this?" Yamra asked. "The process may still kill you. Human minds are fragile. Human minds are also flexible," Yuna replied. "We adapt. We survive. Let us see what happens when a dragon meets a stubborn fool." She pressed her hand to the interface. This time, the pain was different. It was still there, still burning through her nerves. But there was something else too. A presence. A vast intelligence reaching out to meet her. Yuna felt Yamra's memories flood into her mind. She saw the beauty of the Valoran homeworld with its purple skies and silver seas. She saw the glory of the fleet, hundreds of dragon ships dancing among the stars. She saw Ashun's face, his glowing eyes full of love and determination, and she felt 3,000 years of loneliness break like a dam. Yamra felt her memories too. Her childhood on a mining colony, her brother's laugh, her father's last angry words, her years of wandering, searching for something she could not name. Two wounded souls touched each other across the void of time and species. And somehow, impossibly, they fit together. The light faded. Yuna opened her eyes. She was still standing. She was still alive. "How do you feel?" Jisoo asked. Yuna smiled. She could feel the ship around her now. Feel it like an extension of her own body. The walls, the weapons, the wings, they were all part of her. "I feel," she said, "like a dragon." Yamra's voice echoed through the ship, stronger than before. "The bond is complete. It is different from what I had with Ashun. Smaller, perhaps. Less perfect. But it is real. It is enough. It is more than enough," Yuna said. Now let us show Admiral Gorvik why he should have left us alone." Outside, the Torvan fleet opened fire. The first volley of plasma bolts flew toward the dragon ship. But this time, Yamra was ready. Shields flared to life, glowing gold and bright. The enemy fire splashed harmlessly against a barrier. "Dohan," Yuna called out. "Can you fly?" Dohan limped to the pilot's station. He was injured, but his eyes were sharp. "I can try." "Good. Jisoo, get to engineering. Keep the power flowing no matter what." "Yes, Captain." The crew moved. The ship hummed with purpose. Yuna sat in the captain's chair. Through the bond, she felt Yamra's weapons coming online. Ancient cannons that had slept for 3,000 years now roared awake. The dragon's fire was ready. "Attack pattern Delta," she said. "Target their flagship." Yamra surged forward. Its wings spread wide, trailing plasma that burned like the tail of a comet. The Torvan fleet tried to scatter, but the dragon was faster than anything they had ever seen. The first cruiser died in a single shot. Yamra's main cannon tore through its hull like paper. The ship exploded in a ball of fire and debris. The second cruiser tried to run. It did not get far. Admiral Gorvak's voice screamed through the communications. "All ships, concentrate fire. Destroy that monster." The Torvan fleet turned every weapon it had toward the dragon. Plasma bolts, missiles, energy beams, they all flew at Yamra in a deadly storm. Dowan's hands danced across the controls. The dragon ship twisted and rolled, dodging some attacks, absorbing others with its shields. He flew like he had been born in this chair, like the ship was an extension of his own limbs. "Shields at 60%, Jisoo reported. 50, 40. "Keep them up as long as you can," Yuna said. She focused through the bond. She felt Yamra's targeting systems lock onto the enemy ships. She felt the ancient weapons charging with power that had not been used since the war against the swarm. "Fire," she whispered. The dragon breathed. Beams of golden light erupted from Yamra's weapons. They swept across the Torvan formation like the hand of an angry god. Ships died. Ships burned. Ships turned to dust in 3 minutes. After Torvan fleet was gone, Gorvak's flagship tried to flee. Its engines burned at full power, pushing toward the edge of the debris field. "Should I let him go?" Yamra asked through the bond. Yuna considered. She thought about the soldiers who had died invading the ship. She thought about Dowan's wound, about the threat Gorvak would pose if he escaped. Then she thought about Ashan, who believed in honor even at the end. "Cripple his ship," she said, "but let him live. Let him go back to his empire and tell them what happened here. Let him tell them that the dragon woke up and it has a human captain now." Yamra's final shot struck Gorvak's flagship. It destroyed the engines, leaving the vessel drifting and helpless. But the hull remained intact. The crew would survive. The remaining Torvan ships retreated. They fled into the darkness, their sensors recording everything. The battle was over. Yuna slumped in her chair. She was exhausted, more tired than she had ever been in her life. The bond had drained her, pushed her beyond her limits, but she was alive. Her crew was alive. And the dragon was alive. "We did it," Dohan said. He was grinning despite his wound. "We actually did it." Jisoo stumbled into the command center, her face covered in grease and sweat. "The power core is stable. All systems are holding. I cannot believe it worked." Yamra's voice was warm now, filled with something that might have been joy. "I have not felt like this in 3,000 years. I had forgotten what it was like to have a crew, to have a family." Yuna placed her hand on the arm of the captain's chair. She felt the ship hum beneath her touch. "What will you do now?" she asked. "The galaxy knows you exist. Other empires will come for you." "Let them come," Yamra said. I am no longer alone. I am no longer empty. Whatever happens next, I will face it with you. Do-Hwan looked at Yuna. What about the steady crane? Yuna laughed. Their little tugship was still docked to Ymr's hull, tiny and fragile compared to the great dragon. I think we have a bigger ship now, she said. Jisoo raised an eyebrow. Does this mean we are still a salvage crew? We are whatever we want to be, Yuna replied. Explorers, defenders, fools who befriended an ancient dragon. I prefer the term partners, Ymr said. Yuna smiled. She looked out the window at the stars, the same stars that Ashun had looked at 3,000 years ago. Somewhere out there, the universe waited with all its wonders and dangers, but she was not afraid. She had her crew. She had her ship. She had a bond that transcended species and time. Ymr, she said. Yes, Captain? Take us somewhere new. Somewhere we have never been. The dragon ship's engines roared to life. Its wings spread wide, catching the light of distant suns. With pleasure, Ymr said. And the dragon flew again, carrying its small human family into the endless dark. Behind them, the debris field faded into nothing. The bones of the old war disappeared from sight. But the legend of what happened there would spread across the galaxy. A defiant dragon-winged ship had finally listened to a human dot, and together, they were going to change everything. The Torvan soldiers were gone. Some had fled. Some had died. Admiral Gorvak had been carried away by his guards, wounded but alive. The command center was quiet now, filled with smoke and the smell of burned metal. Yuna lay on the floor, breathing hard. Her body ached from the failed bonding attempt. Her mind felt bruised, like someone had squeezed it too tight. Jisoo rushed in, supporting Do-Hwan on her shoulder. His leg was wrapped in bandages. He was pale but alive. Captain! Jisoo ran to Yuna's side. Are you okay? I will survive, Yuna said. She sat up slowly. How is Do-Hwan? I have had better days, Do-Hwan said with a weak smile. But I am still here. Ymr's voice came through the speakers. It was weaker than before. Tired. The Torvan fleet is still outside. They are damaged, but they are regrouping. Admiral Gorvak is angry. He will return with more force. Yuna stood up. She walked to the window and looked out at the stars. The Torvan ships hung in the darkness like hungry animals waiting for their moment. How long do we have? She asked. 1 hour. Maybe 2. They are charging their main weapons. Jisoo checked the ship's systems. Ymr, your power levels are critical. Shields are at 12%. Weapons are barely functional. If they attack again... I know, Ymr said. I cannot win this fight. The silence was heavy. Yuna watched the enemy fleet and thought about all the choices that had led her here. She thought about her life, her crew, her small tugship that now seemed so far away. There is another option, Ymr said. What option? Yuna asked. Self-destruction? If I overload my core, the explosion will destroy the Torvan fleet. They will not take me. They will not use me. I will die free. Do-Hwan made a sound of protest. No, there has to be another way. There is no other way. I have calculated every possibility. This is the only path that ends with victory. Yuna turned away from the window. She looked at the lights that represented Ymr's consciousness. You want to die, she said. It was not a question. I have wanted to die for 3,000 years, Ymr admitted. Ashen saved me against my will. He forced me to live when I wanted to burn with him. Every day since then has been pain. Every moment has been emptiness. Perhaps it is time for that to end. Yuna walked to the center of the room. She stood where the captain's chair had been knocked aside during the battle. Can I tell you something? She asked. You may speak. I had a brother, Yuna said. His name was Tayo. He was younger than me, full of life and dreams. He wanted to explore the galaxy, see every star, visit every world. She paused. The memory was old but still sharp. He died in a mining accident when he was 22. A tunnel collapsed. They never found his body. I was supposed to be on that shift, but I traded with him so I could attend a friend's wedding. He died because of me. That was not your fault, Jisoo said softly. I know that now. But for years, I blamed myself. I wanted to die too. I thought about it every day. I thought that if I was gone, the pain would stop. Yamura was silent. But I did not die, Yuna continued. I kept living. Not because I wanted to, but because I was too stubborn to quit. And slowly, over time, things changed. The pain did not go away, but it became smaller. I found new reasons to exist. I found my crew. I found purpose. She looked up at the lights. You have been alone for 3,000 years. You have carried your grief by yourself, with no one to share it. Of course you want to die. Of course you feel empty. But dying will not bring Ashun back. It will just end the story he sacrificed everything to continue. You do not understand, Yamura said. The bond between a Valoran and their ship was everything. Without it, I am incomplete. I am broken. Then let me help fix you, Yuna said. The bond rejected you. You are not compatible. I do not care about the bond. Yuna stepped closer to the console. Humans do not bond the way Valorans did. We are not born connected to each other. We choose to connect. We decide to stay with someone even when it is hard, even when it hurts, even when it makes no sense. She placed her hand on the warm metal of the console. Ashun did not save you because you were worthy. He did not calculate your value and decide you deserved to live. He saved you because he loved you. And love does not need a perfect bond. It just needs someone who refuses to let go. Yamura did not respond. The lights flickered in patterns Yuna could not read. My father and I never got along, she said. We fought about everything. The last time I saw him, we had a terrible argument. I said things I did not mean. He said things that hurt me. I left and I never went back. 3 months later, he died. I never got to apologize. I never got to tell him that I loved him despite everything. Tears ran down her face. She did not wipe them away. I carry that wound every day. It will never heal. But I do not let it stop me from loving other people. I do not let it stop me from living. That is what being human means. We break, and we keep going anyway. She looked directly at where she imagined Yamura's consciousness to be. You asked why no species was worthy of bonding with you. Maybe it is because you were looking for the wrong thing. Maybe you do not need someone perfect. Maybe you just need someone stubborn enough to stay. The ship was silent for a long time. Outside, the Tarvan fleet began to move, forming attack patterns. Then Yamura spoke. You are the strangest creature I have ever met. Yuna laughed through her tears. Is that a yes? It is not a no. The lights grew brighter. The ship hummed with energy that had not flowed through its systems in centuries. Ashun would have liked you, Yamura said. He always did appreciate stubbornness. Yuna smiled. Then let us show these Torvan what stubborn looks like.